the hell? Ah! Where the hell am I? What is this? Is this a camera? I'm pretty sure I'm in like a park or something. That would make sense. Is that a dog? Huh. I don't know where I am or how I got here. Yeah, it looks like a park to me. I'm gonna try finding someone out here or anyone that could help me. I haven't found anything or anyone yet, but I'm sure if I keep going, I'll find someone. I'm on this bridge now. I'm planning on crossing it, but, on the other side, I hear gunshots and screams. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I should keep going. Holy shit! Holy shit! I don't know who he is. Oh fuck! He's going postal! I think I lost him.
Butt sauce.
I can't tell you how much I fucking love Postal. The number of hours I've wasted on this series and the memories created will probably live with me for the rest of my life. Hey everyone, EDC back again. So how I got into Postal was actually through Postal Brain Damage. I love the game so much that I decided to 100% it and I played the crap out of it. This is actually one of the reasons why I'm here today, because I just really want to work my way up to Brain Damage.
I regret nothing.
So after Postal Brain Damage, I thought I should go play Postal 2 to see how it held up. I had played Postal 2 a little bit back in the day, but I didn't really think it was my kind of game. Now it's one of my favorites of all time. While I was at it, I thought I might as well check out the first game. It's free on Steam, and I thought, heck, why not? I went into Postal 1 without knowing anything about the game. If anything, I only knew that it probably wasn't as good as the sequel. So how did a franchise that is more well known for stuff like this...
Now the flowers will grow.
Nothing personal, man, but you're fired.
But I just started yesterday.
start out as this? What the fuck? The only game franchise that I can think of with this tone shift is maybe Portal 1 and 2, but even then I don't feel like it's the same comparison. Of course, keep in mind that this was with no prior knowledge of the game. I'm one of the lucky ones that went in blindly. It's not like everyone else on the internet has pointed this out before or mentioned it. Running with Scissors was founded by Vince Desi in 1996. Before that, he worked on games like Beethoven II and Tom and Jerry for the SNES. Man, imagine playing these games as a kid to find out that the guy who helped produce them made this.
Man, put your mess away.
The idea of Postal started with Running with Scissors wanting to make the most outlandish game they could. They were tired of games being targeted at kids and wanted to do something that not many people did at the time. Going postal.
You must be crazy. Warm you up. Made in the USA, baby. Only my weapon understands me. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Postal and Running with Scissors suffered a lot of controversy and hate mail immediately after it was released. The title took direct inspiration from the term going postal, which was a slang to describe a series of mass shootings that occurred in the United States Postal Service during the 1980s and early 1990s. The United States Postal Service sued Running with Scissors for trademarking the name Postal, and it wouldn't be resolved until 2003, by the time Postal 2 was coming out. The game was banned in over 10 different countries, censored in Europe, and blacklisted from stores. Senator Joe Lieberman completely hated the game, saying, "This is sick stuff, and sadly it sells." The man who probably did everything in his power to try banning violent video games. Heck, he almost became vice president. The media also had a field day covering Postal.
The wall poster of the big E3 computer game show in Atlanta bears the unmistakable image of an AK-47 rifle.
Violence in video games wasn't anything new at the time. Mortal Kombat was one of the earliest examples of this, but in those games you could usually try to justify it by saying you fought demons, monsters, or aliens, not innocent people. Before we continue, I want to leave this disclaimer. I don't think video games can cause or make people violent. For the exceptions that might have been influenced, I don't think we should jump on this bandwagon of blaming video games and thinking that is the sole reason. We should be looking at that person's mental health and who they were as a person. No one just wakes up, plays a game, and suddenly wants to cause harm on someone. Video games shouldn't be treated any differently than film, books, art, or any other form of media. But with that behind us, let's get on to Postal. Postal has a pretty simple story about a man, known as the Postal Dude, who gets evicted from his house and goes postal on the world. Each loading screen for a new level shows the Postal Dude's thoughts. They reveal how messed up a shooter's worldview is and how they see everything.
The earth is hungry. Its heart throbs and demands cleansing. The earth is also thirsty.
But more on the loading screens later. This level does a fair job of introducing the player to the game. There are civilians and law enforcement that will attack you. It's not necessary to kill the civilians, only the hostiles with weapons must be eliminated, but there aren't any penalties for it, and the game kinda encourages you to do it. You can also execute wounded people who are still alive. This doesn't really do anything unless you want that 100% right away. Despite this game seeming pretty edgy on the surface, some parts are a bit humorous. I like how the cops come out of the donut store, and some of these lines are pretty funny. In this playthrough, I made sure to 100% each level so I can get that full Postal experience, and for gamer reasons. But how is the gameplay? For 1997, this isn't actually too bad, all things considered. It was gravely improved upon in Postal Redux, so much so that I actually prefer that game over the original. It controls and feels a lot better. But back to the original game. There's a machine gun that has unlimited ammo. It makes no sense, but it was the 90s. A shotgun, grenades, molotovs, and a rocket launcher, with a secondary mode having heat-sinking missiles. There's a lot of jank in the original. Not that it's bad, but things that you would think would make sense don't. Shooting explosive barrels don't explode right away and take too many bullets. Damage and spread of Molotov cocktails isn't as impactful as you would think. This isn't the game's fault, it just shows its age and feels outdated at times. Still playable overall and decent for when it came out. Lighting up the parade in the 4th level still gives me goosebumps. These top-down views of the game aren't my thing. I find them disorienting and kind of annoying. I mainly got used to these type of angles up until this point, even if you have more freedom to move around.
Furious fireflies materialize against the cavern wall and sunder the earth into dust. Come, little insects, and see the web we've woven. Human trash spills from its containers as death rains down upon them, sweeping the streets in a cleansing cloudburst of blood.
We've gone through mines, junkyards, and trailer parks killing everyone in our path, yet the Postal Dude shows no sign for human remorse. He makes one-liners and satirical laughs as he disposes of his victims.
I'll see you in hell. They never liked you. Proudly made in the USA, baby.
If I have to hear proudly made in the USA, baby, one more time, I'm gonna jump out of a window.
Proudly made in the USA, baby. Proudly made in the USA, baby. Proudly made in the USA, baby.
But there has to be more to this character, right? Why go postal and commit so many acts of violence? An alternate narrative can be found in the game's instruction manual. In Redux, you can just play on a high difficulty to see them. It gives another side to Postal 1, telling the story about someone who sees the world differently. These entries are written by someone who seems fairly normal. Okay, well, he appears to be a schizophrenic and sees the world differently, so he isn't exactly mentally there to begin with. But he's not an edgelord or really a bad person on the surface. He's more confused and unsure of what's happening. Moving to paradise was a tragic mistake. People here are sick. I hear gunshots, screams after dark. Now the phone calls, saying I'm being thrown out of this house. My house. Wearing a Kevlar vest and carrying a sidearm at all times now.
Sir, your eviction notice is today. We need to pack up your things and leave the premises. Hey, are you okay?
Must face the possibility that I'm the only uninfected person in paradise. Air Force must napalm entire town, ensure this madness doesn't contaminate the rest of the country. Wait. I hear... music? Damn. It is music. Better check this out. What seems like random locations in the base game are given more connection through these journals. The Postal Dude is vague, but he describes everyone in paradise as infected or sick. He gets evicted from his house, tries to go to the sheriff, and then makes it his goal to make it to the Air Force base. But everywhere he goes, there are sick people. Worst fears confirmed. Group of lunatics tried to invade my house. Must get the truck stop and sheriff. See if anyone there can help me. Afraid only God can help me now. Like animals, even the sheriff. Everyone here is infected with something. Something in the air? Or water? I don't know. Maybe from Air Force Base? I hope not. That base may turn out to be my last hope. After the last entry, it's changed into a war journal, with him continuing to lose more and more of his sanity. It's war now. That parade of murderous maniacs marching down the middle of Main Street was sobering. Everyone here is mad, sick. Must attempt to cross the bridge. Lose myself in the mines. Many theorize that the Postal Dude is possibly possessed by a demon of some kind. In the sound files and even in the game itself in the options, they label the Postal Dude as demoned. Meaning Rick Hunter, the voice actor of Postal Dude, most likely isn't speaking. All the voice lines probably were going through his head. When the Postal Dude is hit, it's not Rick Hunter doing the grunts, but Running with Scissors CEO Vince Dizzy.
Proudly made in the US.
This idea of the Postal Dude having different personalities wouldn't really be explored again until Paradise Lost and Postal Brain Damage.
I can't be erased. What the? Yes, I cannot be vanquished. Every time you kill me, I become stronger. I am you and you are me. I'm like a fucking Jungian persona, a cancer at the back of the head, the demon that won't let you sleep at night.
This changes the outlook on Postal 1. What seems like a dark game with an edgy protagonist is really about a story of a man who's unaware of his actions and what he's doing. Okay, well, I'm not gonna lie, this game is still pretty edgy, but at least it was somewhat trying? Oh well, it's better than whatever Hatred was.
How do I overload the reactors?
What? No, never! It will cause a massive explosion! Are you insane?
That's what I want!
I should also mention how occasionally Postal might feel unbalanced at times. Like once you get hit by a rocket, you are basically screwed.
Bruh. 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 Bruh.
Finish him off!
Bruh.
Despite that, the next few levels I thought were pretty good, with some excellent combat encounters and enemy placements, making our way through construction zones, ghettos, and a city plaza where we can kill protesters. We also get this auto shotgun that can take out a large group of people, and this flamethrower... It sucks. One click will deplete most of your ammo, and it honestly just isn't that good. I would rather use a different weapon in my arsenal.
No day in the park. Too much of the blood on me is mine. But the day is not done, and I've miles to go to make them sleep. Peanuts, anyone?
Central Park's loading screen is the closest to being similar to the war journal in the manual. Taking too many hits. Getting weak. See green up ahead. Maybe a forest? Probably a park. Can't go backwards. Nothing back there but death. Keep moving, soldier. Another theory about the Postal Dude that I hear is that he's a military vet with PTSD of some kind. This might explain why he has so many weapons, changes his diary to war journal, his military-like talk in later entries, and his goal of trying to head to the Air Force Base. It's not the most far-fetched theory, but take it as you will. Also, this music track. Yep, that's destroyed trumpets used in Half-Life 2. Then again, a lot of sounds from this game are in Half-Life. These are from a series of samples in the Altered States by Zero G. It was a common practice during the 90s and early 2000s for developers. It didn't take much work to put in, and it was handy to have around. Wait a minute, I just realized that the Postal series has been around longer than Half-Life. Whoa. Also, there's a monkey!
Feast upon the frozen images of molten massacre as the machineries of death grind relentlessly, mindlessly on.
The industrial complex, despite what I said about this top-down view, has some really fun gameplay. Rushing through these areas while gunning down law enforcement felt great. It's mainly due to the close quarters design and these enemies that kept spawning out.
From the halls of the Vatican to the runways of truth, we are there, at the place called Climax, and the time called now. When it's done, let the gods sort it out.
This is it. The new Alamo. Me or them. Can't delay. Can't risk infection. Come on, Grunt. Let's rock and roll.
This is a restricted area. We are under martial law. All civilians must remain in their homes until further notice. Wait. Oh, it's him! It's him, and he's back!
Finally, there's the Air Force Base, the last playable level in the game. Postal tries to throw everything at you in this, and it took me a couple of tries, but I was able to beat it with no trouble. It might not be my favorite level, but I think this is a fine send-off. Now brings us one of the most jaw-dropping moments, not just for Postal 1, but the entire gaming industry. You don't control what happens, but you watch it through a cutscene. And I gotta warn you, it's pretty disturbing stuff.
The hive has been cleansed. The source of the corruption has been corked, laid in a body bag, and dragged to the outskirts of existence.
The Postal Dude attempts to shoot up an elementary school with little to no effect being done on the children. He then goes on a fucking acid trip and everything starts fading out. This ending was removed from the 2016 remake Postal Redux. Your first thought would probably be because it was edgy and probably shouldn't have been in the game. But not quite. The real reason is due to the original ending losing its impact. Postal came out 2 years before the Columbine High School massacre, and shootings became more common in the US. It was something so shocking and unimaginable. Back then, it seemed like there was no way something this horrible could ever happen. What was supposed to be an unthinkable nightmare is now a depressing part of our reality. The Postal Dude is locked up by authorities, and is considered mentally insane. The narration is a little bit hard to hear. No victory. Only a bitter ending for the Postal Dude's fate. Some fans speculate that he didn't kill anyone, and that his crusade was just all in his head. Others think that maybe his killings did happen. Either way, we will never know why he did the things he did, or what was really going on with him. Some may say that Postal aged well. Others might say otherwise, and, well, fair enough. But what I think is that Postal is just a product of its time. There's nothing we can really do to fix it. It just is what it is. Postal in some degrees is probably more horrifying than most horror games nowadays. We don't really see many games like it anymore. It's the darkest game in the series. Maybe even one of the darkest games ever made. Then all this is dropped in Postal 2, yet none of that crap was actually important. You can pee on everyone! Holy shit, Gary Coleman is in this game! Champ pisses on Postal Dude's
Hi there,
leg.
would you like to sign my petition?
No way, you freaking pinko! Time to go buy some milk!
No one's impressed.
Hey! What the?
Make sure to subscribe and comment on the video. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts on Postal 1 were. And of course...
I regret nothing.
Holy shit!